I'm going to go ahead and jump on here for the first intro and let you know that you won't have to look at my face the whole time, but this is Adam Hammis. I'm a project manager for A Garden for Every School, which is a program run by Keep Iowa Beautiful. We're going to go over that program today, and I'm going to give everyone a chance to go ahead and ask questions. But I wanted to make sure that everyone was on, that could be on, and we're going to leave the webcams off. I'm going to turn mine off, and I'll have everyone muted so that you can ask questions through the chat box, and then I'll stop and unmute people at the end as well if we want to do some additional questions. So my camera is going off, and we're going to start talking about A Garden for Every School, and I will go ahead and share my my desktop with everyone so that you can see me. And we'll also go ahead and start clicking through the presentation if I can get rid of.
Hello, this is Danielle.
Hi, Danielle. This is Adam. I'm going to go ahead and mute everybody, and that way you can ask questions during the presentation, but we will put it into the chat box instead.
Okay.
All right. So A Garden for Every School is a program by Keep Iowa Beautiful. It is free video-based training for schools everywhere. And so we're going to talk about exactly what that means, but I'm going to go ahead and jump forward and, well, let me see if I can actually get back in and make sure that I am sharing my screen on the desktop inside, and that way everyone can see it. There we go. So I'm going to go through an overview, talk about phase 1 through 3 of the program so everyone understands what it is, the requirements specifically for schools to go through the program, and then the next steps that we would ask from you if you're interested. And it should not take very long, and so I want to answer as many questions as I can at the end of the presentation, or like I said, go ahead and type things into the chat box if you have questions along the way. The outline for the program as far as 3 stages that we have. Production is the first stage, actually creating the video training, and the video training will look like 10 training video modules, each about 8.5 to 8 minutes long, so that they're very digestible. You can watch them on your smartphone, you can share them with as many people as easily as possible, and then 10 planning guides. Those are editable PDF documents that you can print off and write on, or you can actually fill them out so they're very legible on your computer in a PDF format. And that production is all video interview based, and so it's really right from the mouth of school garden coordinators, school garden volunteers, school garden organizations and nonprofits that have been supporting school gardens for years. So it's really about what works and what doesn't, straight from the people who have that experience. Phase 2 of the program is that we will host those videos online for free at teachersgoinggreen.com. That's teachers-going-green.com. That's where they will be hosted, and we're hosting them there for the simple fact that they Keep Iowa Beautiful owns that website, and it's a curriculum-based website with tons of lesson plans for outdoors and garden activities that are also mapped to teacher standards, so that it is not asking people to use a garden as an extra thing, something additional to do beyond your standards. It helps you meet your standards, core standards, state standards, STEM standards. It's project-based learning. So that is why we've partnered with teachersgoinggreen.com. And phase 2 is providing a $1,000 incentive for 87 elementary schools in Polk and Dallas County. That is almost every elementary school in Polk County and some in Dallas. And so I wanted to be clear that that's a non-competitive incentive. you don't apply for it and you might get beat out by another school. We've actually earmarked $1,000, and I'll talk about that later, of who we already have money for and who we're raising money for. But we're earmarking money for your elementary school, and it will be available provided you go through the training, which I'm describing here today. And then we see 2 waves each year. We don't expect you to hurry through this training. It is a very detailed planning training, and so it wants you to do the slow, detailed work of making sure you have a plan before you go and put a spade in the dirt. So we're hoping about every year, every 2 waves of schools, some in the spring, some in the fall, then some in the spring, some in the fall, some in the spring, some in the fall. And that way we will get all 87 of those elementary schools to have gone through that training, earned the $1,000 from this program, and it is non-competitive. As long as you go through the program, you will get the money. Outline phase 3, then this is kind of beyond the scope of these 87, but we want to let you know this is actually a huge national program. Once it's available for free online, we will promote it nationally. We'll provide a checklist for locals to do fundraising, like we've done here, but we will not raise $1,000 for every school in the United States, but we will put together tools for other communities to do that. And we already have Keep America Beautiful, Food Corps USA, Kiwanis Clubs ready to help us promote this nationally when we have proved it out here locally. And so we're very excited about the national rollout as well, and that is phase 3. Now next, I'm going to go through the school requirements. I'm going to pop out really quick and just make sure that no one has any critical questions right now. But the school requirements for you are important. So I want to describe to the schools what we're asking them to do, because we did go through 2 years of interviews and really designed a training that will help you not just launch a garden, but sustain that garden for a long term. So we're not as excited about getting ready and just starting quick, but taking our time and planning a garden so that it lasts for 5, 10, 15 years with no problems. And so the school requirements are going to reflect that. The first requirements is that we ask you to request participation in the program so that we know you're going through the program. And it's for individuals. You can make that request as an individual, whether you're a teacher, an administrator at a school, a parent at a school, or a community volunteer who has some gardening experience and wants to be heavily involved in that team. You do not need to have a team ready to go to request participation in a Garden for Every School. You don't have to have that. All you need is a passion for school gardens and being willing to go through the training, because the training helps you do many things. One of them is build a team. So to request participation, all that we ask is that you send me an email, adam@eco-fluence.com. I am the project manager for Keep Iowa Beautiful, so it will just let me know, and I'll let our team know and track who's going through the program and which training video they're actually on, what their status is. But that's all you would need to do to get started, is to make sure you let us know, and we will start to send you the information with the training videos, which I'll cover next. The second is start receiving emails. So the reason you would start by emailing me is that the training is not complete and finalized to put online yet. So we have the training videos, and we are going to drip feed them during this pilot phase, which is spring of 2016, via email to schools that are interested. We're calling them our pilot schools, and attach the planning guides to you. So that's how you would actually get the training. It always includes a YouTube link directly to that video and an editable PDF attachment, and that is how you'll start the program, with an email from us with all the information included. The next requirement is that you do build a team in the very first module. The very first email that you get will include 2 videos, not 1. They'll both be housed on YouTube for now. There's an introduction video, which is incredibly helpful to explain the benefits of gardening at schools, the challenges that school gardens face, and how this training is built to overcome those. And you as an individual will watch those videos, but you will also use the introduction video and the Build Your Team video to send out to people to build your team. It's one of those things, it's one tool that you can use. So you'll watch it first if you are that lone champion, and you'll use those videos as a way to attract other people, have meetings with them, and show them that you have this training program that will actually help you go through the process so that you're not doing it all by yourself. So you'll watch both those videos yourself, and then you'll fill out the planning guide completely, which planning guide number 1 for Build Your Team is lists of people and then your results of your contact with them, your meetings with them. Have they agreed to be on that core team? And we ask you to get a certain number of people who are possible contacts before you even start. So we always want you to do more brainstorming, and then when you have successes, it'll be a smaller list of say 4 or 5 that commit to being on that team. And then we always ask you to get signatures from your principal, your grounds crew, and someone in food service, because those are the most common permissions that are not involved in the process where gardens fail. They do a lot of planning and they don't run it by these 3 people, and then somehow there isn't actually permission to move forward. And we don't want you to do a lot of work and then get told no after you've put in a ton of time. We want the principal, the grounds crew, and the food service to be involved from the beginning so that they agree every step of the way that, yes, we see what you're doing, we see what the plan is, we sign off on this, and it actually gets you and encourages you to get their feedback and saying they might see something that you haven't thought of. A principal might know about some policies that are in place that would prevent you from doing what you're doing. Grounds crew may know about security issues or mowing strategies or security cameras, something like that that actually would help you do a better garden plan. And food service, you want them to be involved so that they know there's opportunities, or you may want to be using the kitchen sometime so that you know you can coordinate that with them. And we ask you only complete 1 video and planning guide at a time so that you get those signatures and don't work ahead. This is what it looks like at the end of every planning guide for every video. It's a short statement saying that I have, watched the video myself. I have, reviewed the planning guide and give my full support to this section of the school garden plan. Has a spot for the principal's name and signature, ground crew, and cafeteria or food service. Now, we also tell you not to rush through because the modules have been looked over multiple times and rearranged a certain way to make sure that you plan accordingly and don't get too far out of order. And so those module titles are Build Your Garden Team first, 2, Asset Map Your Community, 3, Engage Your Volunteers and Funders, 4, Identify Goals for Your Garden, 5, Choose Plans to Meet Your Goals, 6, Design Your Garden, which is actually 6 for a reason. A lot of people start drawing their garden and start making plans for where it's going to be before they've done 1 through 5. And it's important. We found that school gardens fail because they do the design first and they haven't got the right people on the team. They haven't asset mapped their community to know what resources were available. They didn't have the right funders and volunteers in place. They didn't know what their goals were for the garden, and therefore they hadn't even chosen the type of plants they wanted in the garden, and they'd done a design without all of those things. And that can really cause problems and hurt your garden in the future. And so we want to make sure that we design the garden after we've done some critical steps 1 through 5. Then maintenance for your garden, how to maintain it and plan for all those things beyond just building it. There's a lot of work to maintaining. Managing your garden year-round through the different seasons, depending on where you are in the United States. Then engaging your teachers and students. Again, this is one that gets put really far forward, and start picking lesson plans and start choosing what kind of curriculum you're going to do in the garden. And you want to do that later once you have the garden, you know where it's going to be located, and you have the people in place to manage and maintain that garden year-round. And then last is celebrate and revisit your plan. And so we do ask you to really recognize what the modules are and don't work ahead because they're in that order for a reason. And what you'll do as a requirement is you'll get a school garden binder. You could just 3-hole punch all the sections when you have a planning guide filled out and signed, put it in the binder. All 10 of those planning guides will make up 10 sections of a school garden plan. Then you can refer new volunteers to the binder so they can catch up and understand what planning has gone into the school garden. And then you'll use that binder for school garden grants. You can just make copies of your planning guides to turn in, or you just go right back to those planning guides to get the content or the text to enter into your school garden grants, including this particular time where we're going to offer $1,000 incentives to you. We'll ask for copies. And that's our next requirement, is that you then turn in a copy of all of your 10 sections to Keep Iowa Beautiful. And our team, who we've partnered with, which includes eCreator Des Moines and Food Corps Iowa, will review your guides as your application, and we'll look for completion so that you've actually filled out all the sections that we've asked you to fill out, even the brainstorming ones. We don't want you to jump ahead because some of those brainstorming activities are so that next year teachers move on or parents move on or something changes with administration, that you've got a list of people all ready to go back to that you can revisit. So we want to make sure that it's filled out completely, the signatures are in place, and that our team might request clarifications on any issues that we see. So if there's any red flags, if there's any things that seem uncertain or worrisome, we'll at least reach back out to you with some ideas and say, okay, here's what we saw. Here's what we recommend locally. Here are some resources for you, and make sure that you fill that back in. And then you'll receive a $1,000 check. Again, that $1,000 is earmarked for your school, and Keep Iowa Beautiful will award it through Des Moines Public School. So they will credit it to your direct school account, but we will go through the district so that it gets applied appropriately, and they keep track of who all has the $1,000 for the school garden, because their facilities people also want to know that so they can make sure that they're providing support through the process. The next steps are what I want to go over next. I'm going to pop out really quick, just going to make sure. So the Waukee, for Danielle asked, is this available for Waukee School District? Danielle, hold on just a second, because I'm going to go through every single school. Yes is the short answer, but I'm going to make sure you see the list of actual schools that we have money for and that we're raising money for. So thank you for that question, and I'm about to hop right back in. So we have an initial 34 schools, and that means we have money for them today. It's sitting at Keep Iowa Beautiful, ready to go. Our main focus now is currently finishing video production. So we'll finish all of those videos. We have schools already on video, up to video 5, I believe, and we have video 7 up online ready, and we're just finalizing 8, 9, and 10 in the next 2 weeks. But we have an anonymous founder who doesn't want to be named, but that foundation gave us $34,000 already. That was to target $1,000 for 34 schools that were in our region that were all at 60% or above free and reduced lunch program. So the program, because of that funder's choice and our interest in helping, making sure that we help not only some of the better schools that are in good neighborhoods, but some of the low income struggling schools, is that we are targeting with that $34,000 based on what they gave us. The free and reduced lunch program is the qualification. So all of those 34 schools, I'll show you the names, qualify for $1,000 in the spring of 2016. We could give that to you this spring, even if you already have a school garden at your school. The branding is to launch a school garden or to breathe new life into your existing school garden. As long as you're willing to go through the training that we've set up and complete it fully, you will still get $1,000 from this program. The pilot schools that have already signed on from that list of 34 are McKinley Elementary, Cattell Elementary. Cattell, I believe, is on video 5. Oak Park Elementary, Brubaker Elementary, Moore Elementary, Hillis Elementary, and Lovejoy Elementary. Now, those are just 7 that have already emailed. They've requested participation, and we've begun drip feeding them the emails with the YouTube link and the attached planning guide. Still qualified, these are the other 27 schools that fit into that 34 school that we list that we already have $1,000 ready and waiting. So Carver, King, Moulton, Capitol View, Edmonds, Willard, Findlay, Howe, Monroe, Madison, Perry, Garton, Stowe, Riverwoods, Morris, South Union, Smouse Opportunity, Park Avenue, Studebaker, Jackson, Windsor, Samuelson, Wright, Woodlawn, Cornell, Hillside, and Mitchell. Now I'll send these slides back out to everyone, but I wanted to hop out really quick and show you that that's just who we have $1,000 for already sitting in the bank, ready to go. Now I said there are 87 elementary schools over the next 3 years. As we continue fundraising, we will have the ability to give $1,000 to additional schools. And I want to pop out really quick and show you who we have on our master list that is, number 35 through 87. And so you'll see that there's a line drawn at 34, but we also will raise money and have money for Crestview, Holy Family, Greenwood, Phillips, Perkins, Pleasant Hill, Clive, Hannawalt, Jensen, Hubble, Orchard Place, Woodland Hills, Delaware, Walnut Street, Karen Acres, Rolling Green, Olmsted, Crossroads, Fair Meadows, Lawson, 4 Mile, Western Hills, Waukee Elementary, Jefferson Elementary, Galerius, St. Anthony, Vince Meyer, Timber Ridge, Brookview, South Prairie, West Ridge, St. Teresa, Henry Wallace, Coles, Northridge, Eason, Horizon, Jordan Creek, Maple Grove, Downtown School, Beaver Creek, Christ the King, St. Augustine, Holy Trinity, Webster, Walnut Hills, Schuler, Sacred Heart, St. Prius, St. Joseph, St. Francis, Bergman, and Iowa Christian Academy. Now, Eason is in Waukee District. To your question, Vince Meyer Learning Center and Waukee Elementary seem to be the 3 that are on the list today. And that was, I will say this, we picked this fairly. So how we came to 87 is that it's a $73,000 program just to do the video production and finalize all the interviews and host that online. So we wanted to cap the program and do something realistic for us to raise $1,000. So we said 160,000 would be the cap of the program for our first attempt. And we are almost finished raising that 73,000, and we have 34,000 ready to go for schools. So the reason is we cut it at 87, so we didn't go over 160,000. If you have other elementary schools that are interested, for instance, we do have 2 schools that have asked to take the training, even though we don't have $1,000 sitting there for them, because they know that the training provides fundraising tips on how to fundraise locally with local businesses. And one of the benefits of this training program is it does train you how to not just go to the same place for funding, which are the big box stores or the same place that offer 2 or 3 grants, because there are more and more schools starting gardens. So it's actually more effective to fundraise locally within a certain radius of your school so that you can create ongoing business partnerships where those employees want to give you a few $100s a year, plus volunteer at the garden in the summer or during the school year. And those kind of relationships are actually more successful and more effective than trying to go to a big grant from a box store, which may be there 1 year and then gone the next. And so that's a list of the schools. I'll also send that back out to everyone when we're done. And then the question is this only for elementaries? I am South Middle School. It today is only for elementaries because of the same issue where we're trying to cap it at a $160,000 project. The training will be available for free to all schools, middle schools, high schools included. We won't have that $1,000 necessarily sitting there unless we finish raising the funds for the 87 elementary schools, or if some of those schools tell us, no, we're not interested, we're not going to participate, we will actually reach out and ask people like South Middle School, if you're interested, that we would rather give that $1,000 to someone who is already gung-ho and ready to do it. But first, we're going to make sure that we try to raise the $87,000 for 87 elementary schools. The thought process behind that is, whether flawed or not, is that these schools will have parents, students, and volunteers and other teachers that if they move on to teach in middle school, or if the parents go with their students and experience a garden in elementary school, they'll be more effective at wanting to help start a garden in middle school because have already been on a garden team and know how to make that work. So we're starting like planting the seed with elementary schools so that it moves on through middle and high school naturally, although we do expect to have other organizations hop on board and help do that fundraising. The benefit of this program, besides being video-based, very short interview style videos that you can watch at home on your smartphone, is that the $73,000 we raised and are finishing raising to do the video production is a one-time spend that will never have to be done again. And then the video training just exists as infrastructure, and all you have to do is raise that money for the schools directly moving forward. So that is our goal. It's the excitement around it is that we are going to do a fairly big project, and once it's completed, no one will have to do that amount of intense work again. It'll all be focused on partnering schools with the right resources, the right teams, the right local partnerships of volunteers, the right local funders, and we can raise that money much easier than re-raising $73,000 for video training. So we're excited about that part of it. And as far as that goes, that is the final slide of our presentation. So my question is, are there any other thoughts, questions about any part of what's required by schools to go through this training today? Because once the pilot program is done and we're drip feeding it via email, we will take all of your feedback from those pilot schools. We'll make some little tweaks and improvements to both the planning guides and the videos, but then it will all be hosted online for free at teachersgoinggreen.com starting in the fall of 2016. Any further questions? And Danielle said, I don't have any questions, but may go through the training to help us start. I highly recommend that. If you just let me know, we will drip feed the training to anyone. We will just be very upfront with you whether we have $1,000 or not. We'll also encourage and send you some additional training opportunities. There are a lot of in-person trainings. There aren't any video-based trainings, but we still encourage people to do everything. But what we found is the delivery method is sometimes difficult for teachers, so we wanted the video training to be super flexible. You could watch it at any time, and then everyone could come to those meetings ready. But we already have 2 other schools who want the training and know that there's no $1,000 waiting for them yet. But you are on the list. Danielle, as far as the elementaries in Waukee and a South Middle School, you're definitely welcome to take the training, and I would personally help connect you to other opportunities for training and for funding. And then Stacy asked if she could meet. This is a really good question. You said you missed some of the presentation. Would you be able to meet? Yes, I'm able to meet. And I'm recording this video webinar, and I will send it back out to everyone with a link so that you can rewatch it. And Capitol View Elementary is on the list, but I want to make sure that I go check where Capitol View is listed. Capitol View is actually on the top 34 schools that we have $1,000 for already today. So they're in you could be a pilot this spring. We would have $1,000 for you immediately upon taking the program. And good question, we will have this recording sent out to everyone who is invited so they can watch this as well. All right. If there are no more questions, I want to thank everyone for attending. I want to say that we're really excited about Garden for Every School. We're excited not only about starting it here in Greater Des Moines, but for it to expand much beyond this and for communities all over the United States to have school gardens, but not just to have them, but for them to be well planned, to be well resourced, and for them to last forever, ideally. So thank you all for coming. I appreciate it very much. And I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting now and stop the recording. So Have a wonderful day.